Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Business Bites. I'm Henry from the Kent and Victor Chamber of Commerce. Today, I am absolutely delighted to be joined by Nick Ellis from Select Technology, who will be delivering a presentation on artificial intelligence and specifically how to make this work within your business. If you do have any questions at all throughout the session, please make sure to put these into the chat and we will address these in our Q&A session at the end. So that is enough from me. I am now going to pass you over to Nick. So Nick, take it away.
Thank you very much, Henry. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for giving up a bit of your lunch hour. Really appreciate it. What I'm going to do, it's not too much slides, don't worry. There's a little bit of slides just to set context, and then I've got a real demo to show you the kind of thing we're talking about. So just for context, this is who we are, Select Technology, based in Paddock Wood. Been around for about 30 years, obviously not been doing AI for 30 years, but my background is applications and AI and business processes and that kind of thing. So I'm not going to linger too long on this slide. This is might seem like a non-relevant slide, but so on the right there we have the right flyer. No, on my left. Yes, on the left. Sorry, we have the right flyer. That's confusing. The right flyer is on the left. That's the first powered flight. You can just about make out the shape of Orville Wright sitting on his canvas and wood machine. And then on the other side we've got an Airbus A380. The point that I'm trying to draw out here is that, it took 102 years to go from a very fragile machine that could fly 120 feet and carry one person to a machine that can carry 300 or 400 people halfway around the world. The wingspan is more than twice the length of the first flight. So the point here is to compare that with where we are with AI. So in terms of, the 2017 was where the first generative AI really started to work. It's a thing called AlexNet, developed by a guy called Alex Krzyzewski. If you take that 102-year scale from Wright Flyer to Airbus A380, we're that far. We've made very little time progress, but we've made huge technical leaps and bounds. The adoption rate for AI is eye-watering, frankly. It took Windows took I think 12 years to get to 100 million users. Facebook took 4 years to get to 100 million users. ChatGPT took a month to get to 100 million users. The adoption rate is enormous. We're starting to see some problems emerging from that. I saw yesterday that somebody self-published a book that accidentally included some of the ChatGPT response where they'd used it to write their book. So you've got to be careful and make sure that you use it responsibly and so on. But we're at the beginning of a huge transformational journey, and we can go with that journey and adopt AI. We can actively choose that we're not going to go with AI and we're going to be a different kind of business. What we can't do is ignore the fact that it's happening. And we don't know at this stage where it's going to go. So if one of your questions is where are we going to be in 20 years, I'll tell you now, I don't know the answer to that. Honestly, I don't think 2 years ago I would have been able to confidently predict where we are now. So that is a different slide, which comes later. So there you go. That was a little preview for you. I'm just going to go straight into the demo part of this. We are a Microsoft partner, so this is Microsoft Copilot. Other AI platforms are available, as they say, but if you're a Microsoft using business, Copilot is definitely the one that I would suggest looking at because it's embedded into your Microsoft Office environment. So if you're already using Outlook and Word and Excel and SharePoint and so on, Copilot is the way forward. I've got a few things that I wanted to demo around Outlook, Word, and Excel, but also just Copilot in itself. I'm not in here. This is a dummy business filled with dummy data, but I can just come here and say something like summarize my emails over the last 3 months. I don't know how old the data is actually, so I'm not absolutely certain. There you go. So there's not a lot because it's a dummy environment, but quickly go in and say, okay, this is the stuff you need to do. I have a prompt a bit like that I use every day, which is summarize any new emails that I've had in the last 24 hours, highlight anything that was important from the last 7 days, just in case there's anything I've forgotten or blind spotted, and let me know what I should be doing this afternoon. And it will go through all of my Teams messages, my emails, my documents, and say, okay, here's the really important stuff. You can disagree with it, of course. You can say, no, you know what, I don't care about that. And sometimes spams and circulars come up in there because it working out. But it's a really good way of keeping it focused. I have found since I adopted Copilot, I used to, I'll hold my hand up, occasionally get slight grumbles from customers saying, I emailed you 3 days ago and you haven't responded. That doesn't happen anymore because Copilot's constantly there reminding me and telling me what I need to be focused on. You can also use it for research within the business itself. So you'll see here it's prompting me of what I might like to think about next. So that is product the business makes, and it was going around looking at documents across the business. So it's researching there. It tells you where it's getting them from. So that's a Word document. Number 3 is a different Word document. Number 1 is probably also a Word document. Yeah, but it will look at spreadsheets. It will look at PowerPoint presentations and so on. And it's actually summarizing from all those documents. It's really easy to just get the key information you need. I had a meeting this morning with a customer. I've got Copilot on my phone. I knew I had prepared a proposal document for the customer, and I just said, give me a summary of what's going on with this customer in our business and find that proposal document for me. And it gave me a bit of text like this. So this is the general context, and here's the link to the specific file that you need. So you 5 minutes in the car with the phone, and I'm fully prepared for the meeting. You can also use it. So you'll see here we've got work and web. You can also use it to research things and use it as a the analogy I often use is like an intern, where a manager might go, I need to know about such and such. Go away and find out and prepare me a white paper. I haven't got the time to do the research, but go away and prepare me a 1-page report. So give me a brief summary of, or what should we look for? Key regulations in construction health and safety. Just off my head. And it will go away and research on the web and come back and go, this is the main stuff you need to know about. And then you'll see it starts to give relevant, what are the next things that you need to think about? Okay, so what are the penalties for non-compliance? That's like a good follow-up. And it will give you that information. So it's really good for research. I always say with anything AI, read it, check it, make sure, right? So follow its link. So when it says, oh, I think you can get this, and why I think, follow that. Go and see why it has come to that conclusion. Because sometimes AI, like human researchers can misunderstand things, get things the wrong way around, and so on. So it's really important to do that. This is available, this interface is embedded in, I'm using it in the Office portal here, but it's also embedded in Outlook and Teams. So it's really easy to access all the time. And as I say, there's a mobile app for it as well. That's the kind of really high level, which is great. This part, certainly, you can do in ChatGPT for free. This part, not so much, but it is still in a sort of similar kind of line. Where it gets a bit more interesting is the AI embedded within a file. If I go, and I'm doing this all in the browser just for ease and convenience, but these tools are all embedded in the desktop clients as well, if you need to use it. If I go to Word and start a new document, now I've got a prompt that I wrote earlier in a very Blue Petery fashion, which is basically to create a proposal for the kind of services that we at Select provide, the benefits of it. So I'll put that in there, but just quickly read it. Create a proposal for ABC Solutions, combination of service desk, IT infrastructure, software consultancy, explain the benefits of the service, and particularly, right. So that's what I want. But you'll notice that it's suggesting, if I hit tab, actually adding an additional line in where it's saying, how do I want it? I want a proposal. Do I want a proposal that is deeply technical and detailed? Do I want a high level summary? Do I want, what's the tone I want to use, and so on? And I can keep adding in. One thing that I would say is important to put in, is use British English. By default, all AIs use American English. So, and as you can see, it will just keep, you can build that out and build that out. If I hit generate on that, and there it is. Now, is that going to be the proposal that I'm going to send to ABC Business Solutions? No, because I'm going to read it and I'm probably going to want to make some changes. But the framework is put together really quickly. The 80% of that, I pretty much guarantee, and I can give, so that I don't sound like I'm just purely flogging it. On Tuesday of this week, I was with a customer all day, talking about a software architecture for their project. Typically, spend the day with the customer, you then spend the next half a day, non-chargeable, writing up the reports and what have you. What I was able to do was basically take notes through the day, give that as a prompt to this, and it wrote the document. And the customer was very happy with that. Yes, that is exactly what we have discussed. Thank you very much. I've got what I need to go and to have a conversation with the board. By literally just prompting in the top, saying we need an architecture diagram. This is what it's going to look like, and it wrote the whole document. You can see down here when I get to the end, right? You've then got an option, so you can just say keep it, love it, thank you very much, or you can say I want to change it in some way, and I can give it more prompts. It's more of the same, so I won't go into too much because we are a little bit time limited. But anywhere that you're working, you'll see you get this little Copilot icon here, so I can then just select a paragraph, and I mean, make this shorter. Bosh, done. You could also, I'm not going to test it because I don't know exactly how the configuration is on this environment, but there are ones where if you're working multinationally, you could say, do it in German. Love this document, love exactly what, now make it in German so that I can send it to my German customer. And so all that sort of stuff is in there as well. Outlook is the functionality in Outlook I love. If I may quote my colleague Anita, who is on here who was recently talking about Copilot was a slightly tentative adopter, not sure what the benefit is for me. We discussed it last week, and I believe the phrase "from my cold dead hands" was used. Once you start using it, it gets really impressive. So, for example, you've got a summary by Copilot. So we've got a short thread here, 2 emails, and I can just get Copilot to summarize that. Now, where you've got, I don't know, you go on holiday for a week or 2 weeks and you come back and there's a thread that's got 20 emails in it, and you need to go, oh, right, okay, I've got to start at the bottom. I mean, you know, you say that all the time. Send somebody an email, go, right, start at the bottom and work up, and so you get the context. Copilot just goes, right, okay, this is what it is. Bosh. That's the information you need. Really quick, really simple. When you're actually composing an email, you'll see there that there's a draft with Copilot. You can just get that's the thrust of what I want, and generate out into, and again, you can start to then tune it. It's just got a nice little tuning settings thing. You can say, okay, make it sound more casual. Great, you know, very quickly rewrite. Really handy for people who either don't. I personally quite like writing, so I tend to still write my own emails. But there are people who don't like it; it's not their thing. You know, there are people for whom English isn't their first language, and so on. Really, really powerful. And if you're in a whimsical mood, there's also a make it a poem. I've never seen an actual business use case for that, but it does exist. So, you know, then the other, so discard that. The other thing that you can do here is if I start writing, you can do it the other way around, where you say, give me some coaching on this. So I've written this. Actually, I haven't written enough. Boom. Coaching. Oh, you see now, look what's going to happen. Close that. Start that bar again. There's always a bit in live demos where you forget where a button is. So yeah, so that I've written it, and then it's gone okay, and it's suggesting. It's not going to rewrite it for you. It's just making suggestions, and it's up to you to then go in and use those suggestions or not, as you so wish. Oh, actually, there you go. One of these things, it changes all the time. Apparently, it is going to rewrite it for you. You say, yeah, okay, good. So that's new functionality. So yeah, so within Outlook for creating emails and for summarizing long threads of emails, very powerful. If you're kind of going, so let's say Matthew, I don't know who Matthew Manfield is, but if I wanted to go get me the last email from Matthew or summarize emails from Matthew Manfield, that's this interface. So, that's not true because we've just seen one in the. There you go. That's the compulsory strange behaviour in live demo. The other part I wanted to show you, and sorry, I just had to. The zoom bar is over the top of what I was looking for. This. So within Excel, as long as the file is in, and actually all of this is as long as the file is in SharePoint. Doesn't work if it's a locally saved file, but in Excel, we have Copilot capabilities here where we can interact with that data. So I might, for example, looking at this data, which is you know, provided as part of the demo tenant, I might want to say, give me a breakdown of production cost by quantity sold. Okay. So I can go to Copilot. And I can say, add a column that calculates average production cost per unit sold, which I'm doing in natural language, and I'm not having to go, column P, etc., etc. The joy with AI is you never quite know exactly what it's going to spit out. There you go. So it's worked it out. It said, right, that's the formula that you're going to need to, whoops, that's the formula that you're going to need to do that. I can either copy that formula and use it somewhere. I can get an explanation of what that formula is doing. So I can use it as a kind of learning and training tool. Or I can just go, yeah, I'll have that, please. And it will take that and add it there as an additional column on the table. The other thing that I can do is, so let's say, generate a chart of units sold. Generate a chart of units sold per product category. There you go. There's a chart of that. Having a think about it. Oh, hello. So there's the chart. There's the actual summary data. But then I can just go, okay, that's a new feed for me. Like that chart. Thank you very much. Bosh, done. So where I think the power of this is, hopefully, I think you might be looking at this and going, that seems very powerful, and I'm going to stop sharing now. This kind of technology is all about making you faster, more creative, more productive. So, and releasing your time. This should not be about let's get rid of everyone's jobs and make all the work be done by computers. That's not what we're about at all. It's about giving you more time to do the thing that is actually the point of your business. You know, if you're a wine grower, doing administration in IT is not the function of your business. The function of your business is growing wine, putting it in bottles and selling it to people. So it gives you more time to do that, and will also create ways of thinking. We definitely have found, looking at Anita, but we've definitely found that there are things that we do now in our business that are only possible because of AI. Like, for example, I mean, this is quite a technical one, but I had a customer ring me with a problem, went to AI and described the problem. I was like, I don't even know where to start with that. Gave it to AI and it came back and said, right, okay, well, if you do this and do that, I agreed with some of it. I didn't agree with all of it, but you're using it to generate those ideas. It's hugely powerful. And I'm supposed to stop talking at 25 past, which is about now. So I guess I'll hand back to you, Henry.
Perfect, Nick. Thank you very much for that one. A really informative demonstration of Copilot and how that can really impact your company. I'm certainly going to go away to my powers that be and request that they get that going for me straight away, just to get rid of some of the admin side of the work. But yes, we've got a couple of questions. Pierce, you had a question a bit earlier on from Serious Search in the session regarding Copilot as an alternative to ChatGPT. And I've just seen you put another question. So would you like to unmute, Pierce, and ask your questions?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah,
Yep.
cool. So I wasn't prepared for you to say unmute, but here I am. Hello, Nick.
Hello.
That's really interesting. So is the website of Copilot the same as chat? Is there any difference at all?
So the difference between ChatGPT and Copilot, and it's worth bearing in mind, 49% of OpenAI, which is the ChatGPT company, is owned by Microsoft. They pumped in the development in order to then create Copilot. The difference essentially is that ChatGPT cannot see into your business and will not embed into desktop apps. I did see there was a question that just popped up of, does this work in the desktop apps? The answer is
that was me
yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the answer is yes. I just can't show you that because I'll be showing you our business data and I might accidentally reveal something. But yes. And so ChatGPT, anything you put into ChatGPT is the property of ChatGPT. That's the main worry that I have. So if you take a spreadsheet from your business and give it to ChatGPT and say, analyze this, it'll do it, but they then own that data and they can use that in however way they like. Copilot, you can do it straight from Excel, so you don't have to give it to anything, but the messages and all of the content is contained and then immediately forgotten at the end of the session. So it's a much more secure environment. That comes, just in full honesty, that comes with a slight frustration that sometimes you have to tell it the same thing twice on 2 different days because it forgets. But it means that there's real security there. It's not storing, it's not learning, it's not sharing. ChatGPT, there's always a risk that that data is going to be used for something that you didn't intend. The other thing is, ChatGPT can't see into things like Outlook. So if you go, give me a summary of my emails, ChatGPT doesn't know, right? So the Copilot is intended to interact with your business data securely and in a much deeper way than you can achieve with ChatGPT.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Pierce. Ben, you had a question regarding the Excel sheets. Would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nick. That was a really interesting demo. I had to play around with Copilot in preview ages ago, and thought the Excel stuff looked really exciting, but then quickly found out that if your sheets and tables aren't structured correctly, Copilot can't understand your data. So you obviously showed a really nice data set there that was well structured. And so is it still the case that your data has to be structured in a way that Copilot can understand it, rather than it just sifting through a bunch of free text in Excel and figuring out is it still like that, or is it improved?
Yeah, it does still require some structuring. What you can do is you can upload the spreadsheet through the Copilot portal, in the same way that you might do with ChatGPT, and it will have a crack at understanding it. But it's certainly a lot better if it's structured data as per my demo. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That was all. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Ben. And Caroline, you had a question as well, which is actually one that, had you not asked, I may well have asked as well. So, Caroline, would you like to unmute to ask your question?
Hi. Sorry, just busily turning things off there. Do you have to have the paid version of this to work for it to work?
For the stuff that we have been demonstrating today, yes, there are various different. Microsoft branding is always confusing because they use the same term for different things. So there is Copilot for Windows, which will do the research part for you, and that's free. And there is also Copilot in Bing. I know nobody uses Bing. I actually do because I think it's quite good, and I'm a Microsoft nerd.
To Bing.
But so Copilot in Bing again will do the research elements for you. The stuff like summarizing emails, creating documents straight in Word, manipulating Excel, yes, that's the paid version.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that just to pick up on that a little bit, the paid version, it works out something like £25-26 a month, which I would suggest is an hour and a half of productivity. So if in a month it improves your productivity by an hour and a half, it's paid for itself. But only if you've got the budget to cover it. I get that.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Caroline. That is all the questions that we had in the chat, and that does actually take us very nicely to
Ah,
1:30 exactly. So we've timed this to perfection. Well done, Nick. Always a good achievement. I would never do that, so there we go. Um, First of all, I'd just like to reiterate my thanks to Nick, and as well Anita, who has been sitting quietly in the background for helping to organise this session and bring it all together. Nick, like I said, amazing session today. And obviously, I'd like to give a massive shout out to all of you who came along and took time, like Nick said, out of your lunch break to come and listen and hopefully learn and take a few bits away. Nick, if people have any questions on the back of this, are you happy for them to get in contact?
yes, absolutely. I won't put the slide back up, but yes, go to the select-technology.co.uk website. There are all sorts of contact details there, and of course, I'm on LinkedIn, and same domain, N Ellis. That will find me on email.
Perfect, fantastic. So, yeah, well, finally, I have been Henry from the Kent and Victor Chamber of Commerce. I wish you all a great rest of your day, and thank you all ever so much for coming. Take care.